2022 was a really big, wild year for me, and I feel like the most appropriate way to talk about it is to recap some of the most amazing and crazy things that happened to me this year, all in one video. This is my 2022 year in review. The craziness really all started in 2021 in November, when the company that I was working for decided to move from here in St. Louis out to Long Island, New York. In between November 2021 and May of 2022, I was operating in New York. I personally made the drive from St. Louis to New York about 9 times, mostly in U-Haul trucks, carrying all of our cargo, like our inventory, our supplies, our warehouse tools, everything that we needed to set up in New York. The company that I worked for at the time rapidly expanded to become a top 5 player in the United States PlayStation resale market. We were buying a lot of stuff from Canada, shipping it to New York, and then selling it to local buyers there who would then sell it on Walmart and Amazon. Big wholesale buyers. We did massive quantity, and unfortunately, that market really tanked in early 2022. We tried to pivot a couple times, tried to do a few things, and ultimately we ended up shutting the company down. In May, after we shut down the company and I cleaned out the warehouse, I drove straight from Long Island, New York to Atlanta, Georgia to attend Formula Drift at Road Atlanta, which is my favorite track that I've ever been to. It's really amazing. It's got all this elevation. It's a beautiful area in the hills of Georgia. When I was there, I did the Larry Chen photo experience, which is where you can, as a fan, pay extra money to Formula Drift and get to go on track during practice sessions right before the main competition. You can go out and shoot photos, which I have done several times with my big camera setups, and I was able to create some really cool content from there and build a really amazing portfolio. After Formula Drift, I drove back to St. Louis. Mind you, I still have all of my personal belongings in my car. They've been there the whole time since I was in New York because I had no other way to bring them all back. I get back to St. Louis, I moved out of my apartment and into a house with my roommate, and then I immediately got back in my car and drove down to Alabama. I stopped in Huntsville, and I actually ended up giving a tour of Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama to Sam Sheffer's YouTube channel via a live stream. Something I wasn't planning on doing, but something really cool that I got to do. I went down to Mobile and Gulf Shores area in Alabama to do photo and video work for my friend Hayden at his Quick Fix stores. They do electronics repair. If you're in that area, go check him out. He does great stuff. I came back to St. Louis from Alabama and I ended up moving into an office here at Spark, where I'm standing right now. This is actually one of the biggest and most important decisions I made all year, to come get an office here, because being here has led to a lot of connections and a lot of opportunities, including getting to shoot for Ballpark Village themselves and a variety of other amazing clients. In June, I got to attend my first ever NASCAR race just across the river here in St. Louis at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Shout out to my boy, Will the Beast. He's awesome. I took my sister with me and my big camera setup as well, and I got some really cool photos like this. Later that month, I also got to go on a family vacation out to Maine, where me and my family got to experience a sort of East Coast summer like we never have before. We've actually never been that far east or that far north, and it was a really interesting vacation. You know, we had some lobster rolls, and we got to explore Bar Harbor and Bangor, Maine. It was a really cool area, and I'm very excited I got to explore. I always love going on vacations and exploring national parks and exploring different towns and cities and ways of life. Here's some cool stuff I shot at Jordan Pond in Acadia National Park. In July, I knew that Formula Drift St. Louis was coming up, and I wanted to do something bigger and better. So I put together an amazing portfolio with all the work that I had from Atlanta, and I reached out to a few really cool people, including Jeff from Hooniverse, who read all my stuff and was interested in what I was doing and trusted me to go and represent his company and cover Formula Drift for Hooniverse. I'm very thankful for that because I got to do some really amazing stuff because of it. In 2022, Formula Drift St. Louis was the first event I ever attended as a credentialed member of the media. And I was so excited about it leading up that I actually made a video here at Spark talking about how excited I was and shouting out Larry Chen, an amazing creator, photographer, automotive culture capturer, yes, I just said that, who just recently won the SEMA Influencer of the Year award. I made this video talking about how glad I was, how proud I was of myself, and also how much I had to thank Larry Chen for inspiring me to get there. And it was actually really crazy. I went to the Formula Drift event, and Larry Chen walked up to me and was like, "Hey, Jason, I like that video that you made. I love the energy you had." And that was really cool to hear from somebody who I have been so inspired by in the industry of YouTube and content creation. Coming around to September, it was time for the big IndyCar race, the Bommarito Automotive Group 500, again here in St. Louis at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. I got to go shoot that with my friend Dante for an IndyCar practice day, as well as cover the race from inside of the track on race day. I also got to see for the first time in person a 2023 Corvette C8 Z06. It was actually on manufacturer plates. It was well before any press cars were made. I'm talking about a pre-production Z06 in the flesh inside of the racetrack. During September, I also worked on building some relationships here in St. Louis, including with amazing companies like Ballpark Village. October would bring around my biggest trip yet, an 11-day road trip from St. Louis to Los Angeles and back. I went out there, 2-day drive with my friend Joe. She and I were driving separate cars. We went to Albuquerque to stop and stay the night with our friend Madeline, an amazing model and creator. And then we drove to Sedona, Arizona, had an amazing lunch, and continued our way all the way out to Hollywood. While we were in Hollywood, of course, I had to take some photos of my friend Joe. She's an amazing photographer. You should go check out her work. I was out in Los Angeles to attend a variety of automotive events, including go to Hoonigan for a wheel brand relaunch. They relaunched the brand Kinesis Wheels by doing a pre-Luftgekühlt party. And what that means is that there were a bunch of Porsches dating back to 1965 all the way up to the modern day and the modern era. Beautiful cars, beautiful, amazing cars and people in this parking lot at Hoonigan. In LA, I also got to go to the Getty Center, which is an incredibly inspirational art museum. If you haven't been and you're in Los Angeles, you need to go experience it. I got to see with my own eyes and be incredibly taken aback and inspired by beautiful architecture of the museum, as well as pieces by Vincent van Gogh and Degas and all these amazing artists dating all the way back to the 1400s. There's amazing pieces of art and history in that museum. I got to see a lot of California car culture firsthand, visiting Hoonigan, Luftgekühlt, the Peterson Museum, and Larry Chen hosted car show pre-Formula Drift. Finally, I attended Formula Drift, which was amazing. It was the final round for 2022, with the championship wrapping up. Lots of pressure, lots of stuff on the line, and I got to shoot some really amazing content, as I'll show you right here. And right here. And even more there. And maybe a little bit right there. I drove back across the North Route, stopping in Moab, Utah, for one of the most beautiful night skies I've ever seen. It's so far out there in the mountains that I was able to turn off all my lights and just look up and see more stars than I've ever seen before. It was a really inspirational spot. I also took some really cool photos in the sunrise. In November, it was back to work, building lots of things here at the office, including what would become Loki Studios. We took a trip out to Kansas City towards the end of the month and shot some content for our clients out there, as well as shooting some fun vlog-style content for the Loki Studios account. And all of a sudden, that brings us to December, wrapping up with the opening of the Armory STL just down the street. We attended with our friends at Date Ideas and Things to Do, an amazing media company based here in St. Louis that covers all kinds of amazing, fun date ideas and things to do in 16 different cities across the country. We at Loki Studios are the proud media partner of Date Ideas and Things to Do, and we work with them directly on covering events, as well as working with members of the group, showcasing local businesses and individual restaurants, venues, vendors, all kinds of great stuff. 2022 was a year of building and growth, taking time to set things up and build relationships so that we can earn and create amazing things in 2023. I'd like to thank a few people for helping me out and supporting me over the last year. I'd like to start by thanking my family and my friends. I'd like to thank my former boss, Josh, Jeff from Hooniverse, Kyle Cross, Jake Winkleman, Matt Marcoux, Matt Jarrett, Luis, Dallas, and so many more. Morgan Casey, Joe Renee, Derek Madison. And finally, I'd like to thank my friends and my partners that I'm starting Loki Studios with. Dante, Caden, Christian, and last but not least, myself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and supporting my content over the year, and I can't wait to show you what 2023 holds.